You need to call that detective.
Hello? Sir?
You don't. Please. I have a daughter.
The movie begins with the Duncan family happily celebrating their daughter Kat's birthday. It shows how close and loving the family is. Later, William and Kat play in a softball game together, sharing a fun and special moment as father and daughter who both love sports. That evening at dinner, Kat's parents worry because it seems like she cares more about sports than school, but Kat is confident. She promises she can handle both and is excited to win her next game.
Oh, I'm gonna play. And we're gonna win.
Meanwhile, at a strip club called The Den, a dangerous street gang called the Fetter Boys shows up. Their leader, Donnie, kills a man in cold blood, just as his two sons, Rory and Danny, arrive. Danny, the younger brother, says he's ready to join the gang. Donnie gives him a gun, marking the start of Danny's life of crime. The Duncan family returns home. Will and Kat go out to get tacos to celebrate the game. While they're waiting in the car, the Fetter Boys suddenly show up. They pull Kat out of the vehicle. She begs for her life and offers anything to stay alive.
I don't have any money, I don't have anything.
But the gang shows no mercy. As his first task to prove loyalty, Danny shoots and kills Kat without hesitation. When William hears the gunshot, he rushes outside, but it's too late to save his daughter. Hurting and filled with rage, William confronts Danny amidst the chaos. Although Danny attempts to knock William unconscious, he is quickly arrested by the police. Shortly afterward, William and Jen receive the heartbreaking news of their daughter's death and struggle to cope with the profound loss. Adding to their pain is the injustice of the legal system. Danny is sentenced to only 5 to 7 years in prison, a sentence far too lenient for the crime he committed. Worse yet, Danny does not admit to killing Kat or her friend Guild, justifying his actions by claiming William caused a concussion during their fight, which led to his testimony being dismissed in court.
Case dismissed.
William feels frustrated and loses faith in the justice system, finding it difficult to accept that his daughter won't receive the justice she deserves. Reluctantly, he accepts a plea deal to move the case forward. However, at the trial, he decides to abandon the legal route and chooses instead to take justice into his own hands. William quietly tracks Danny, waiting for him and the gang to return home, preparing for the final confrontation. Unaware of the danger nearby, Danny enters without caution. William patiently waits until nightfall, hiding in his car and planning to carry out his dark intentions. Then, a street worker named Luna happens to notice him and approaches to ask if he needs help, but William coldly rejects all offers of assistance.
I'm fine, thanks.
When Danny appears, William's rage erupts. Without a second thought, he drives straight into Danny, then gets out, fully consumed by anger, and beats him to death with a baseball bat. Afterward, William quickly flees the scene and returns home. He immediately washes the car, erasing any trace of his wrongdoing. When he sees his wife watching an old family video, he exchanges only a few brief words with her. Then he goes into the bathroom, and in the quiet space the reality of his irreparable actions hits him. Overcome with shock and swelling emotions, William realizes he has crossed a line he can never come back from. Meanwhile, members of the Fetter gang arrive at their club. Rory hands Donnie the money he made on the streets, but Donnie is not pleased. He warns Rory that there will be no tolerance for future mistakes. Shortly after, Donnie receives the shocking news of his brother's death.
What? It's Danny.
He rushes to the crime scene, and when he sees Danny lying in a body bag, it's an image he can't bring himself to accept. At the same time, a detective visits William and places him on the list of potential suspects. Though tense, William adamantly denies any involvement in the incident. Jen vouches for her husband, insisting that William had been home the previous night. However, as soon as the police leave, Jen confronts William, leading to a heated argument. William feels hurt and insulted by Jen's suspicion, making it difficult for them to understand each other through the deep pain they're both experiencing. Meanwhile, at the club, Rory is simmering with determination to avenge Danny's death. He orders the gang members to hunt down the person responsible, who, according to information from Luna, is identified as William. The next day, Rory and Henley spot William working on his laptop outside a cafe. They decide to ambush him from behind. However, William quickly reacts and tries to escape. Despite his efforts, he is eventually caught and forced to use violence to protect his life. With his skills and experience, William manages to defeat Henley and escape once again. He then reports the incident to a passing police car. But Rory easily slips through the law's grasp, despite his involvement in multiple crimes. When William returns home, he senses a looming threat and quickly takes steps to secure his house. Jen then suggests they contact Chin for support.
You need to call that detective.
At the crime scene, the police identify the victim as another member of the Fitter Boys gang, indicating that this is part of a series of related incidents. William contacts Chin, and they decide to meet at the Duncan house. There, Chin admits his suspicions about William's involvement. He reveals William's military record and his exceptional ability to handle tense situations. Nonetheless, Chin agrees with William's defense that he needed to protect his wife and decides to station a police car outside their home for added security. Later, a car smuggler named Dante visits Roach's shady auto shop, which deals in black market car parts. Instead of cash, Dante receives a bag of high-quality weapons that could fetch a hefty sum. That evening, William confides in Jen about killing Danny, viewing it as revenge for their daughter's tragic fate. Suddenly, a police car drives off, just as the mafia returns to William's house for revenge. Someone throws a bottle, creating an opening for Rory and Donnie to break in. The intrusion begins with brief introductions and casual conversation, but it quickly escalates into violence. Jen is shot, and William collapses to the ground. Lying in a pool of blood, William manages to call 911 as the intruders flee the scene. When he wakes up, he finds himself detained in the hospital and learns, devastatingly, that his wife has died. Mentally shattered and severely injured, William struggles with the will to go on. However, the medical team does everything they can to support him. As he begins to calm down, Chin visits and calls him a miraculous survivor. Chin tells him they will report his death to the public if he doesn't commit to recovery, encouraging William to embrace the chance to return to a normal life. After days of treatment, William finally comes to terms with his profound loss and regains the ability to walk. He quickly puts an escape plan into action, disguising himself in a janitor's uniform, which allows him to slip out of the facility. Undetected, William left the hospital. Once free, he headed to a Western motel, where he ended up sharing a room with Dante, whom he caught shoplifting. The next day, William withdrew money from the bank, but couldn't contain his curiosity. When Dante learned about William's conflict with the Fed Boys gang, he offered to help him through the tough situation.
You in the hot water with them Feder boys, huh? Yeah. Maybe I can help you.
At first, William hesitated, but he ultimately decided to turn to Dante for a gun. Dante proudly showcased various firearms in his office, and, during their conversation, recounted a previous confrontation with the Fed Boys gang, in which he was shot in the shoulder and lost a cousin. Dante expressed a genuine willingness to help William, motivated by their shared vendetta against the gang. In the end, William purchased a variety of guns, ammunition, and classic jackets from Dante, along with a car, laying the groundwork for his revenge plan. Afterward, he headed to a vast field to hone his shooting skills. William spent several days perfecting his aim in preparation for the upcoming confrontation. As the time to execute his plan drew near, he visited his family's resting place to pay his respects. The anguish of a husband and father still raw and unresolved. All his pent-up emotions came to a head in the pursuit of revenge. Under the cover of night, William prepared to confront Zach, Rory's trusted ally. Stealthily infiltrating Zach's residence, he found him engrossed in a video game. Seizing the moment, William launched a surprise attack, leading to a fierce hand-to-hand duel. Though initially overpowered by Zach's size and strength, fortune eventually smiled on William. Zach soon begged for mercy.
You don't. Please. I have a daughter.
Hours later, police discovered Zach's lifeless body. Soon after, Chin visited Donnie's workplace to update him on the situation. He revealed that the conflict with William was far from over, emphasizing William's role in the deaths of Rory's gang members. Chin asserted that he came with good intentions, urging Rory to lay low temporarily to defuse the situation. However, the discussion was tense, and the gang seemed to take his advice lightly. Outside, William noticed Chin leaving his hideout, immediately raising suspicions about Chin's motives. The betrayal stung, knowing that even those in authority whom he once trusted were ignoring the crimes. Fueled by anger, William stealthily approached Chin, armed with a police-issued gun. They entered the house together, where William accused Chin of betrayal, scorning him for failing to protect the community. Chin acknowledged the Fed boys' immunity within the system but expressed regret. The irony was clear. They couldn't even hold the gang accountable. William warned Chin that a reckoning was coming, and if he intervened, he wouldn't hesitate to kill him. Nonetheless, William assured Chin that he would surrender, but only after he was done. The next day, Donnie instructed Rory to eliminate William. They hurriedly left the scene, unaware that William had already anticipated their move. Hiding in a car parked outside the club, he pretended to be drunk, then stealthily neutralized the guard before making his way into Donnie's office. His sudden appearance threw Donnie into a panic. Realizing what was about to happen, Donnie urged William to end things quickly. William began the conversation by sharing the intense emotions he'd experienced the first time he took a life, when he killed Danny. Yet, in that moment, he felt emotionally numb at the thought of killing Donnie. He wondered if Donnie had ever felt the same when he ended Jen's life. Ultimately, William pulled the trigger, taking down the man who had stolen his family. The gunshot echoed throughout the club, causing chaos. Taking Donnie's phone, William called Rory, without a shred of remorse, informing him of his father's death.
Did you kill him?
Yeah.
Rory, however, maintained his composure, shedding no tears or emotion. The Fed boys returned to the club to find chaos and Donnie's lifeless body. Rory remained detached, unfazed by his father's death. But attention quickly shifted as William's voice echoed through the speakers, affirming his presence in the club. A chase ensued between William and the gang. Though the odds weren't in his favor, William accepted the humiliation of revenge. He initially tried to calm them, but the situation escalated into a shootout. During the chaos, William took one of Rory's associates hostage. Without hesitation, Rory ordered the man's execution. William narrowly escaped but was injured in the shoulder. Dragging himself up a staircase, William was spotted by Dante while Luna quickly reported his location at the motel. Shortly after, Rory and his men arrived. They searched for information on William but found nothing, and ultimately executed him as though his life had no value. Rory shouted William's name loudly so everyone could hear. William didn't back down. He and Dante decided to fight first, but when too many enemies showed up, they ran from the motel and ended up in a gunfight. As night came, the fight continued. Dante got scared and asked his friend Roach for help. They drove to Roach's garage. Roach's gang started shooting at Rory's car, forcing them to run away. But Rory didn't give up. He ran into the garage, and both sides lost people in the shootout. Rory, badly hurt, saw that William and Dante were also injured. Feeling sad and angry, Rory talked about how unfair Danny's death was and how cruel the world had become. But William used the moment to strike. He grabbed a screwdriver and stabbed Rory in the neck. As Rory died, he gave William one last hateful look, one William would never forget. Police sirens filled the air. Blair and Dante tried to escape as officers surrounded the area. The police looked around at the bloody scene and, even though it was sad, they saw it as a victory. The Fed boys were finally gone. In the end, William was ready to give himself up. But before he could, he died. He destroyed the gang that ruined his life, but it cost him everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.